So Truman Capote's In Cold Blood was very much a turning point in his career, considered to be quite different from the work he had produced up until that point. And many critics say similar things about your book, Death of a Murderer, which, although is much more of a work of fiction than Capote's book, still centres around a real crime. And I wondered what first drew you to the subject matter.
Oh, I remember exactly what drew me to it. I was living in the middle of nowhere at the time in the northwest of England, and this was 2002. It was a very gloomy, rain-swept kind of November evening, and I was washing up, so standing at the sink, and I had the radio on. And the news announcer said something like, for the fourth night in a row, the body of Myra Hindley is under police guard in the West Suffolk Hospital. And that sentence just kind of froze me at the sink. I mean, I knew that was a book, a play or a book, but since I didn't write plays, it was going to be a book. It's odd because Capote, in a way, was drawn to the Clutter killings in a similar way.
Yes,
I mean,
it was a news.
Yeah, he was leafing through the New York Times, I think, and he came across this article, this tiny little article, buried deep in the paper, and I think both those moments are examples of what I like to call engineered coincidence, because writers, I think, have these antennae all the time, and the antennae kind of operate subconsciously. So you're always kind of on the lookout for material, even though you might not be aware of it. And I think that's an example of that antennae working in both cases, because you're attracted to something. You're not sure why you're attracted, but it's an instinct, and you there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to go there.
Well, as you say, it was quite an instinctual reaction that Capote had to this news story that he came across, and he was looking to do something new and original, and the result is In Cold Blood, which is generally referred to as a non-fiction novel. But in your introduction, you make the point that this comes from quite a long tradition, starting with Daniel Defoe's The Storm from 1704. Yeah. But Capote was very insistent that he was doing something new. Do you think that was a fair assessment on his part?
I've thought quite a lot about this. I'm not sure it was as new as he thought it was or claimed it was. I think he brought sort of great insight and kind of heightened intensity to that form, if you like. But there are all kinds of examples of things that happened previously. Right from, as I said, Daniel Defoe through Dickens, and up till people like Lillian Ross in America and John Hershey who wrote Hiroshima. And Capote is always very keen to say, he calls almost everything else that's happened previously, he tends to either call it journalism or documentary novels. And when he calls something a documentary novel, and then he calls what he's doing non-fiction, a non-fiction novel, I feel as if he's splitting hairs a little bit. I mean, isn't it enough that he brought this incredible new dynamic to that form? I mean, it's kind of fascinating to go into that more deeply, actually, why, apart from the fact that he was a great self-publicist, I mean, why he was so keen to say, I'm entering new territory.